Hello, all you scaredy cats and kittens, and welcome to the Two Scaredy Cats podcast, where we talk about all things strange, unusual, and paranormal. We're your hostess with the mostest. I'm Stacy.
And I'm Kara.
So, Kara, did you do anything this Labor Day weekend? Go anywhere and do anything fun?
Drank a lot of margaritas.
Yes, it was a very sad weekend because Jimmy Buffett passed away.
Yeah. We lost 2 people. Smash Mouth
I
singer
know,
also
he died on Monday. I'm like, what the hey? I went and saw them in concert. He's really good. I like them. I was sad.
Haven't you seen both of them in concert?
Yes, I have actually seen both in concert. Yeah, since we live in Cincinnati, the parrot head capital of the world. Yes.
Is it really? I
didn't know that?
I thought that would be Florida.
No, are you kidding me? In fact, we're the ones that termed the parrot head name.
Parrot
It happened at Kings Island at a concert. Yeah, so that's how the whole parrot head thing came to be.
Lore drop. I didn't know that.
There you go. Well, we've been without air for the past 5 days in my house, so, it's been like hell around here, and I mean literally like hell, because it's so damn hot you could fry eggs in our house. But luckily it got fixed this morning, so hopefully I'll feel better tonight when I go to sleep.
Yeah, sounds rough.
Yeah, trust me, it is. Especially when you're a person that doesn't like to be hot and, you're a raging menopausal woman. It's a little rough.
Well, remember when our pilot light went out, so we were freezing?
Yeah, see, we're the exact opposite as you.
It was like 50-something degrees in here, and I was like, had blankets on. It was insane.
I bet. See, but me and Dad just talked about that, and we figured it would be better to be freezing than to be hot. Because at least when you're freezing, you can throw clothes and blankets on, and we also have a gas fireplace, so we could sit in front of, like, downstairs and be warm from that. But if if our air conditioner went out like it did, there's
fans.
No way to, get any comfort whatsoever. Yeah, they only help so much when it's already 100 degrees and you're just blowing around hot air.
I know,
at that point. It's like being in an oven. All right, so this week, we're doing things a little different. I don't know if I'm supposed to go first or not, but I am. And then Kara will regale us with her information about what's going on with her this upcoming weekend, some stories from that area. So I'm doing mine it's called the Ceely Rose House Murders. Have you ever heard of this before, Kara?
I have not.
Interestingly enough, this all happened in Ohio and not that far away from Mansfield, Ohio, or where the Ohio State Reformatory is.
Oh, great. So
we can actually, next time we go there to that area, we should go check out this. There's like an actual park there that all this went down in, so we can go check it out. So anyway, so our tale starts off with the Rose family. It was a family of 4. There were the parents, David and Rebecca, and their 2 children, Walter and Celia, who they called Ceely. Now, Ceely Rose had a severe learning disability, and she could not do many of the tasks that they needed her to do at the time on her own. So, while she had matured physically, she still remained mentally immature, and everyone in town would make fun of her. It is kind of sad. So, as she, started growing and getting older in that, she fell in love with a 16-year-old local farm boy named Guy Berry. Now, she was 23 at the time, and the reason why she fell in love with him, she thought that he was showing, that he loved her, when actually he was just trying to be kind to her, and he would always talk to her in that when everybody else would, like, run the other way and stuff when she came into town in that. She gets it in her head that this boy named Guy really loved her, started to fantasize about him and her, and she would go around telling everybody that they were going to get married. Now, Guy decided he was not, in love with her. Like I said, he was just, being kind to her, as people will do sometimes. Eventually, he got tired of all these rumors being spread around town about him and her. He wanted to put an end to it. So he basically told her that they couldn't get married because her parents didn't approve of him. Okay, so that's what he tells her. So this information sent Ceely into a rage, and this rage ended up proving deadly. So a couple of nights later, Ceely and her family were getting ready to sit down to eat dinner. Now, her family, where they lived at, they lived on a farming property, and they had a grist mill at the time because they provided flour and stuff for the town and that. And her dad kept some rat poisoning, or otherwise known as arsenic, in the grist mill to help keep the rats away so they would not eat the flour and stuff in there. So she saw that her dad used this to take care of the rats. So she got the brilliant idea that, well, if it works on rats, it must work on people. So she took a couple spoonfuls of rat poisoning and put it in the cottage cheese that she was going to serve her family that night.
What?
And they all ended up eating it, and they all got sick. Like, it was so bad. Like, the dad was, like, puking everywhere. The brother was puking everywhere. The mom wasn't doing so great. So eventually her dad died first, and he was on his way to go fetch a doctor, and one of the townspeople found him in a ditch. He had fallen off his carriage or whatever, and they ended up bringing him back to the house, and they called a doctor. Well, he died. Then her brother died a week later after her dad had passed away from the same symptoms. The doctor couldn't figure out why are all these people puking except for her. They're all puking and getting sick and dying. And so the brother dies, and the doctor was while he was in there, taking care of this family, he noticed that she was morbidly fascinated with everybody dying and getting sick from, this rat poisoning or whatever. Her mom also got sick. She got really sick, actually. But she actually ended up surviving. When she survived, after she survived, she figured out what Ceely had done. She put two and two together and figured out that she had poisoned them all. So she basically, when the authorities came to talk to, because they figured it out too eventually what had happened because of their symptoms and all that, it was really easy to figure out that they had been poisoned. When the authorities came to interrogate or interview Ceely and her mom to find out what happened or what was going on and all that, her mom got very defensive. And she would feed, she told all the stuff for Ceely to say, and Ceely would look at her mom to make sure what she was saying was right, and her mom would wink or, something to indicate to her that she was doing it right. So then the mom gets custody of Ceely again after they can't prove anything that she had done it, because back then there was no way to prove that, she had poisoned them. So after losing her son and husband, the mom did not want her troubled daughter taken from her as well. So she was very protective of Ceely, and even though she was not of sound enough mind to be held accountable, her mom, that was her mom's worst decision that she made, was hanging on to Ceely. So her and her daughter get home after the whole trial, and her daughter's been acquitted. She didn't do anything wrong, they say. And guess what happens? Ceely feeds her arsenic again, and this time she kills her.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I know. You think the mom?
What the fuck?
I know the mom did not learn her lesson. So the mom ends up dying. At this point, Ceely ends up telling a friend on the steps of the local church, by the way, that she had done. That she was the one that had given her parents and her brother.
Why would she tell someone that?
I don't know.
Or why would she do that in the first place? But still.
I know. She should have known better. But remember, they said that she had mental disabilities. So in her mind, maybe she wasn't killing them. You know what I mean? We'll never know because, nobody ever had records from her from all that. Any doctor's records or anything from that. So anyway, while she's sitting on the church steps and telling her friend what all had happened, she goes on about, oh, I'm so heartbroken by Guy, who, by the way, had left the town at this point, and because he wanted to avoid being blamed for what happened, because, he's the one that told that little white lie that set her off, and she ended up killing her whole family. Mm-hmm. And he didn't want to be, scrutinized by the whole town for what he had said to her. Ceely Rose was clearly mentally challenged, especially when during her trial she was found not guilty by reason of insanity. So after the trial, she was sent to the Lima State Hospital. She was basically put on they have an asylum ward there, And that's where she lived until she died she was there for the rest of her life. Now, today, people say that if you go visit this place, it's a park in Ohio, and this park was actually a famous Nobel Prize winning author lived there for quite a few years after, the Rose family had passed on. And he actually had a lot of the famous people from Hollywood that would come and stay with him. And two really famous people, Lauren Bacall and I can't think of the actor's name, got married on his property there that he had. And they say that if you take a tour, it's like a farm. It's called a farm now. And if you take a tour of it, they think that the gentleman that had purchased the land, you can actually see him. He'll sometimes appear on the tours. Like he's interested in what people are saying, about his property and that. There's also rumors that Ceely, you can see her sometimes too inside the home. And they say it's one of the most haunted places in Ohio. But you know how that is. Everybody says that. But around Halloween time, they have a lot of really cool tours there that you should go check out. So, but that was what mine was. It was called the Ceely Rose House.
It's interesting. I've never heard
Yep.
that.
I hadn't either. I was really shocked when I saw that it was like a legit place. So where are you going this weekend? Or this week? Yeah, I guess weekend.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm going out to the Appalachian Mountains.
Uh-oh.
Technically.
That means fun times for you.
Well,
you're going to find
specifically, I mean, maybe. Or we don't know what we'll find. Because I'll be out in the woods again doing stuff. We're going to be technically in the Poconos Mountains, specifically.
Are you still staying at the same hotel, or are you staying someplace different?
Oh, yeah, we're staying at the Kalahari.
Okay.
But, the Kalahari has, a plot of land with, woods or whatever that we go back to.
Yeah, I know. I've seen your trips.
Because I've been lost in the woods there once.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it was bad. They thought they were going to have to, call search and rescue on us and stuff.
Oh, my gosh. That's scary. That's not even funny.
I mean... now it's funny, but it wasn't funny at the time. Because I was lost with a client, too, at the time. So,
ooh. How many hours were you missing?
We were gone for 2 hours.
Oh,
and it was starting to get night, and that's why Mario started freaking out.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
So basically, I know my way around the trails now, but we took one wrong turn because the path wasn't super well marked.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up, on an unmarked trail, essentially, and we were trying to find this waterfall, which was the whole reason.
Were you off property at that point? Do you think,
we might have been, because we were very far off. It was pretty far back, and we were we're clearly not finding it, because people told me how long of a walk it was to get there, which we had taken a wrong turn. We were supposed to go left on the path, but we went right, so we took the long way, and then we missed a marker. Because the markers it really wasn't well, marked. I know now, how to get there, but...
Yeah, that's why we carry a map with us when we go hiking to make sure, in case
and then I didn't have service either, so it's not like I could call anyone, because apparently they had been trying to call me, too, at the time. It was a whole thing.
Really scary, yeah.
It was kind of getting scary because it was getting dark, so we ended up turning around. I was like, let's just follow the path back and give up. Which we eventually did get to the waterfall.
Oh, that's funny.
So we did find it eventually, but and we took a few photos because it was getting so dark. We wanted to, get back up, and then we got back up. And I remember Mario was so pissed. He was just
I would be too.
He was literally outside, and he got mad. He was mad at us.
He probably thought you were dead in the woods. Jeez.
Yeah, we were basically. I mean, not really, but you know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
They were I don't know who I was supposed to call.
Oh, goodness.
Because, we weren't, on a park property. It wasn't, a...
Right.
National park or anything. It wasn't, a park.
Right.
We were just, on hotel property, and they have, hiking trails in the back.
Well, next time that happens, just have them call the police, is what I would have done.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Police. It was just gonna be, missing 411. I almost could have been abducted by an alien for our stories, but, didn't happen. Yeah. Darn it. Unfortunately. I'm sure I'll get lost in the woods. But one time I think we heard, some really weird noises, which is where we'll get to what I'm going to talk about. I didn't know that there's, rules you're supposed to follow when you're in, the Appalachian woods. But I learned this today, that there's, specific stuff you're not supposed to do. to essentially keep things that are in the woods away from you, essentially.
Away from you?
One of the rules is don't look into the trees, which is something I always do. So, because if you look, they'll know that you're looking, and typically whatever's out there wants to initiate with you. This is a new one. I didn't know this. You're not supposed to whistle in the woods either. Yes. Like, really? You are not supposed to whistle at all, because apparently they do not like it, and they will come after you. Whatever it is, we don't know.
Oh, nice. Whatever it is out there, got it. Interesting.
And if you hear your name being called, no, you didn't. Do not engage with it.
Yeah, do not answer. That's never ends well. We've seen all the horror movies.
Yeah, or if you hear someone crying for help,
don't do it.
If you cannot confirm the source, do not engage.
It could be a changeling trying to steal your body. Don't do it.
Or, like, in, like, a realistic sense, it could be, like, a mountain lion. Because mountain lions can sound like people screaming.
Yeah, I've heard that. Or they sound like babies crying. I've heard that before,
Yeah, that too. Yeah. So, like, even sometimes it is supernatural. Sometimes it could be a realistic thing. Right. So, it's the best bet is just
to not answer it,
just ignore it,
and move on.
Yeah.
Get the heck out.
And then you're never supposed to, so, like, if you feel like whatever it is near you, do not run away from it. That is, like, a no-no. You're supposed to calmly walk away.
Yeah, because if you run, they're gonna think that's...
It's gonna trigger, like, their, like, prey drive or whatever kind of a thing. Like, no matter what it could be. Right. You know, even if it is supernatural or if it's, like animals, too. Like, you're not supposed to run because it'll kind of trigger that response.
Coyotes, wolves, you got the
But yeah, those are some of the things I've learned. I learned it from this TikTok she told a pretty crazy story about a mimic. Have you heard of mimics? I think we talked about something similar, which is, you talked about doppelganger. You talked about, which are kind of similar to a mimic. It's not exactly the same, but she was just talking about how she, like, would go in the woods. She lives in Appalachia, which is why we're talking about this anyways. So I thought it was interesting since I'll be out there anyways. And she would be in her house, and something would just, like, be there. Like, her husband would not be home, and then she would turn around, and her husband would be, like, facing the back wall, and he'd be wearing something similar that he normally would wear, and it clearly wasn't him. Because she was like, he's supposed to be at the gym or whatever. That doesn't make sense. Why are you home?
Right.
And they won't, like, interact with them, and then they'll, like, go do something else, and then it'll just be gone. Like, poof. And then her actual husband will come home and open the door, and she'll be like, what was in my house? And it's happened to her multiple times. And she actually caught it on a TikTok, which is nuts. So it would say, hey. It sounded like his voice, but it was, like, distorted. And it, like, kept calling to her. And then when she turned around, there was, like, so he would always wear, like, a flannel, or, like, this mimic thing would always wear a flannel and, like, a hair bun, because, like, similar to her husband, and she, like, saw it just, like, standing off in the corner, like, behind the shed, that he didn't even come with her on this trip, so it's, like, creepy, because she was talking in the TikTok about how, she was like, oh, my husband can't be here, but we're visiting, like, our haunted farm, and then she, like, stopped because something started saying hey to her, like, multiple times, and she turned around, and then it was just in the corner, and then she caught it a second time.
Yeah.
On, like, a different TikTok.
I wouldn't be staying on that farm by myself. I'd be out of there in a heartbeat.
Well, it's like her parents' farm. They were, like, going to go just walk around it and get content because she does, like, TikToks about paranormal stuff, you know.
And what's this TikToker's name so I can go check this
out? M-O-R-G.
Spell it
like
for me.
Morgue.
Oh, Morgue. Okay.
You should watch her stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, let's go check that out.
Oh, and there's, like, this is another thing I thought would be interesting to talk about. There's a, there's a Bigfoot movie, like a found footage Bigfoot movie coming out. And it's, like, pretty much in post-production, but they're, like, doing a Kickstarter for, like, finishing costs, and I can get my name in the credits for $5.
Oh.
Should I do it? Damn, that's what I was saying. I'm like, $5.
Should go for it. Do it.
Like, I watched the trailer, and it looked pretty good.
You should have it put Two Scaredy Cats podcast. That'll be even better. Then maybe people will look this up.
I don't know if that's how that works. I can send it to you, though. She talked about it also on her TikTok. That was my deep dive, was I just watched, like, all of her TikTok videos. And she has YouTube videos, too. But there you go. I thought it was like so fascinating, especially the mimic story.
Right.
You should go watch the videos. They're like pretty nuts.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's only on her YouTube. I think she was getting like
yeah.
some hate for her mimic stuff on her TikTok or whatever, but it is on her YouTube.
Okay.
She has like a whole YouTube video and she like talks about everything. I just kind of like showed the Spark Notes version, but it was pretty crazy. Oh, and she also has a video about Wendigos, which is what we've talked about those before on the podcast. But I think that's pretty much what we were just talking about when they say don't look into the trees kind of stuff. It's not always a Wendigo, but
yes, we have talked about Wendigos. Yeah,
it was the implication was it could be, and she's also seen weird deer. They're called knot deer. Have you heard of those before? It's like an Appalachian thing where they look like normal deer, but there's like something wrong with them. Okay. Clearly, like, or sometimes they will not look normal. Like their face will be like messed up.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's like a phenomenon that happens in the Appalachian. I've heard other stories about the knot deer.
Got ya.
They're called that because they're not deer, but they look like them. So be careful of sus-looking deer in the woods, and make sure you follow those tips because I had never heard like those stuff. Like I didn't know you're not supposed to whistle in the woods.
Next time you're going in the woods,
and like especially the like don't like if something calls your name or anything, just do not interact,
please, at all costs.
Yeah, it's just I think they get like when you get scared and freaked out. I think it's what kind of wants them to attack you or whatever. It feeds them, yeah, and that's what they want. So if you just kind of pretend like you are ignoring them, they won't typically engage. Usually for whatever could be lurking in the woods. So did you know that the Appalachian Mountain Range is like one of the oldest mountains in like the world?
No, I did not know that.
They began in 1.1 billion years ago. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah, I was looking up some info, and I think Ohio's like barely in the range. It's like all Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky has a lot.
West Virginia, Pennsylvania. We're like surrounded by that area, but we're not quite in it. And the Smoky Mountains is part of the Appalachian Mountains. I mean, I probably did know that. I just you know me. It's a huge mountain range.
It is very huge. Yeah.
Well, I get to drive through it tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. So I'm so excited.
We expect a full report when you get back.
Hopefully something spooky will happen, or maybe hopefully not. Also, apparently, that area is really popular for UFOs, too. Like the Poconos Mountains. Cool. I saw there's like a whole YouTube about it. I was like, what the heck? And keep my eyes out.
Yep, sounds good.
Anyways, if you enjoyed our podcast today, follow us on Instagram at Two Scaredy Cats Podcast. And please be sure to leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It really helps the show get discovered. And tune in 2 weeks for a new episode. And to all our scaredy cats and kittens out there, remember, curiosity didn't kill these two scaredy cats.